So what I wanted you now to do is go into a few things that can be confusing for a seller. I think we've covered most of this that we want to cover, but there are some things that I want Elizabeth, to clear up. And a few of them, people get kind of confused about title insurance and what that means. It's not homeowners insurance. So if you would go into that a little bit, as far as what that means and how you explain that to folks, because I know there's some confusion about that.
Yeah. So
and
title,
why you have to have it. I'm sorry to interrupt. And why that's important.
Yeah, it's super important. Title insurance is our product. So I work for a title company, and so that's what we sell.
Gotcha.
Is title insurance.
As do all title companies.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's a one-time fee. So not to be confused with homeowners insurance or fire insurance. It's paid one time. In San Luis County, that fee is typically paid for by the seller. It's an owner's policy of title insurance, and the coverage amount is customarily the purchase price.
Based on purchase
Based on purchase price, correct. So the liability amount would be $500,000 on a $500,000 purchase, for example. And what that policy is doing is protecting occurrences that happen in the past.
Really?
So
I didn't know that.
Maybe forged documents on a previous transaction, past due taxes on the previous owner, a lien or a mortgage on a previous owner. So the policy is protecting the new owner, the buyer, from these past occurrences. So if someone came to the buyer and said, hey, I was owed a $25,000 judgment, and we would look back and say, oh, shoot. Well, yes, there was a $25,000 judgment, and, it didn't get paid at close. That is a bad day for the title company, but
you bet.
But that's what it's there for, and it would reimburse the buyer
for that error. So, because that's not something that it doesn't always come to fruition, right? And during the transaction,
right? I mean, it should. That is the purpose. So the purpose of title and our preliminary title report is to give everybody the current state of title, any outstanding liens, outstanding taxes,
yes,
et cetera, et cetera. But, if something was misposted in the record, I mean, it can happen.
Sure, human error, right?
Yeah, it's all humans doing this work.
Exactly.
And so it can happen, and that's what this policy is protecting. It is good for as long as you own the property or your heirs.
Really?
Yep.
So it's not a 1 year policy?
No.
Okay.
One-time premium, customarily paid for by the seller in this county.
Right.
And good for as long as you own or your heirs own the property. There is one little exception. If you deeded the property to an LLC, a corporation, an entity like that, that would invalidate your title policy.
I see.
But if you were to deed it to your own family trust, that does not.
Okay, so it's an LLC, a corporation,
right?
And
a
that
business
would make it invalid,
right?
Okay.
Right. There's some things you can do to just call your title person before you do that.
Yeah.
There's some things you can.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. Anything on title, you want to call. Hey, will this affect this or that? It's good to know about this homeowner's title insurance policy, and what might affect that. It's great information. I didn't realize it's for the entire time that particular when you as a buyer purchase that and you're the owner for the time you own it, but not when you go to sell it. That's going to be a whole new title policy.
Correct.
And this, Elizabeth, is for errors that have occurred in the past that could come on you after you've purchased a property.
Right.
And it's happened.
It's happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen.
Wow. And now, would that policy protect any fraud? Is that also like a fraudulent?
Yes, a fraudulent deed transfer, for example. That's why, we have all these different things in place. For example, let's say I prepared a deed as an individual, and I deeded a property to you. And I recorded it myself. I did not have title insurance on that deed. Fast forward, you go to sell this piece of property I deeded to you. We would require what's called an uninsured deed affidavit. So you would have to go, the title company would have to go back to me and confirm that I really did execute that deed to you.
Wow.
Because it was not done with title insurance.
Interesting.
So that's just one thing in place to help mitigate fraudulent deeds and transactions and title claims.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we have to do now is to mitigate those claims, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Because yes, the policy does cover that.
Right, and the policy has, right, again, if it's $600,000 or $800,000 home, it is covering that
entire
purchase
amount.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Another thing, if title's held in a trust, and let's say the title reads with 2 trustees, and one trustee's passed away, we would require a full copy of that trust for review, just to confirm that there isn't another trustee that's added upon the passing of the one, just to make sure we have the correct signer, because sometimes that does happen.
Right.
And we just need to confirm our signer, did anything change with the passing of the original trustee, things like that. So we do require a full copy of the fully executed trust in those kinds of circumstances.
I can see why.
But again, that's because, okay, what if you've bought this home, your seller was a trust, one of the trustees had passed, and maybe one of the children was supposed to come in and sign also, and they didn't.
I see.
They could potentially have a claim, so we want to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need any of, wow,
Yeah.
that is really something, way more detailed than I thought it was,
Yeah.
you know? And, I want to go back for a second, so that we can talk about signers. Like, oftentimes, it happens, extra or an additional signer onto a contract during a transaction.
So during a transaction, that's not as bad, because we're going to insure that transaction. So we're going to make sure that that additional buyer is clear of any
Qualified and okay. Yeah.
Where it gets interesting is sometimes people will come in here and they will they want to do their estate planning, and so they'll say, oh, I want to add my son to title, and we unfortunately can't prepare a deed in those circumstances. We can only prepare deeds within an escrow transaction, so we do typically send them next door to the paralegal next door.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, that is very convenient.
To recommend an attorney or someone that can draw documents without an escrow transaction. But something you should be cautious of in those circumstances is that person that you're adding to title, any liens or judgments that they may have in their name will attach to that property once that deed records.
To title, and I misspoke. Adding to a contract. That's not what I meant. What Elizabeth's talking about is adding someone to title after the fact.
After the fact.
Okay.
Correct.
I wanted to be clear.
Through a transaction, it's not. You're protected there. But after the fact, we just don't know. If they have a judgment out, if are they married? Because then you've got some spousal interest.
Right.
So we try to encourage people in those circumstances to please go talk to an attorney, an estate planning attorney, or at least a paralegal or somebody, and get a proper estate plan in place.
Including the people
that will
that you
include
want.
a deed, perhaps, to a trust or something.
Got you.
But just be cautious about just haphazardly adding people to title.
Right, because you can haphazardly do it.
You can.
But,
Anybody can. Anybody can record a document. But
But for instance, so someone could come in here and say, "Hey, I closed this escrow. I want to add so and so to the title on my home," and you could do it, but you would probably say, "Well, hang on, I just want to mention, or can you do that?
No,
because we
we
all have to
can't.
be careful about legal advice.
And we can't prepare the deed either in those circumstances. We
Okay.
can only prepare a deed through an escrow transaction
Okay,
because we're not attorneys
so attorneys have to do this.
or a paralegal.
Or a paralegal.
Yeah.
Okay, that is really good information. You can't just walk into a title company and
No,
say,
they ask us all the time.
really? And does it
Yeah.
happen often?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I mean,
We
this is
direct
good to know.
them to. We do have a website. We have blank forms on our website. You can have at it and do your thing.
Really? So they can
Mm-hmm.
download forms off the Plaster Title website to do this.
Yeah.
But it'd be better if they, sought some kind of legal advice, maybe.
But it's your biggest asset for most people.
Yeah, this is really important. It's your biggest, for most of us, the biggest asset we will
Yeah.
ever own, and you want to do everything to protect it. That's why this is
And
so important.
because that's what we're trying to do. And then when people are just haphazard, we're like, ooh.
Yeah, right. Especially from what you see,
Yeah.
see a good perspective. From what you see, you're like, ooh, don't play.
And we have to clean that up later.
Yeah. And when you have to clean things up later, it's never pretty. It's
never
pretty, right? Oh my gosh, great information. So, I would like you to tell us a little bit too about when you take title, or I'm sorry, if you're selling or you're purchasing something out of or in a trust.
Okay.
What that means, and I think a lot of folks get confused on what they have to do.
Yeah.
Because you have to have what you're going to talk about right now.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So, title and a trust. Trusts are great estate planning tools. But if you're selling a property in your trust, the proceeds for the sale of your property would be payable to the trust. Okay, that's fine. That means you have to have a bank account
A separate.
titled in the trust in order to negotiate those proceeds.
Got you.
Yeah, so a lot of people, they get the trust all set up, they get the house deeded to the trust, everything looks great, but they negate to do that last step, which is to have just one account titled in your trust.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
And I have to, true confessions. I did this. Right? I forgot my property, right, was in a trust, and we go to do this with Elizabeth when you would think I would have remembered or thought about that. And so it comes down to the wire, and Elizabeth calls me and says, do you have a trust account? And I'm like, huh?
I think we were face to face for it.
Were we? Look at her tell all
and you're
this is terrible.
And I'm like, really?
And I said,
I taught you nothing.
I know. After all these years, right? I would have learned more from you than that. So, it's so easy, is what my point, is to just say, well, it's a trust, make it out to my name, who cares? But no, right?
No.
And there's a reason for that.
We have to, especially in your case, because yours was, if I remember correctly, it was coming like loan proceeds.
Yes.
And so we have to comply with the lender's instructions in that case, and you held title in your trust.
Yeah.
And so we have to make the proceeds payable.
I was like kind of embarrassed, to be honest with you. But
because you had to go set up an account.
I had to go right from here and go do it so that otherwise I wasn't going to get my proceeds, right? Or my funds.
I was so excited.
I know, it douses the excitement if you don't have this all set up. So hopefully y'all learn something from that.
And we do try, more and more agents are requesting like a listing prelim or at least a vesting deed.
Yes.
So we do try to, give a heads up to the agent, say, hey, let your clients know.
That's right. And you've done that for me several times. The preliminary title report they pull is a property history.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our current state of title. So current
state of
owner, current taxes, whether paid or delinquent, easements, CC&Rs, recorded liens, and mortgages.
And it might show a cloud on title that you didn't know, like cloud on title. What does that mean?
So oftentimes it's like what I talked about earlier with the uninsured deed. So not a true cloud, but something we have to confirm.
Got you.
So we need to confirm a validity of a deed. So we'd have to go back an owner perhaps, and they have to sign a form saying, no, I really did sign this. No, I'm not owed any money, et cetera, because
and clear it up.
And clear it up and just confirm that that was the intent and no further money is due, because unfortunately we've had a few circumstances now where that has not been the case.
Yeah,
And
I
money
bet.
was due, and we get annoyed, I think, sometimes on this side, like, oh my gosh, title's making us do that again.
Yeah.
But it really does have a purpose, and it's important.
It really is. In fact, I'll have Elizabeth pull preliminary title preliminary title report prior to listing a home, just so we can see. And she'll say, okay, it's in a trust. Maybe she might see something, right?
Yeah.
That, hey, did you know? Maybe there's delinquent taxes that even you don't know about. So that's a very important piece of paper.
Or maybe there's multiple mortgages, because sometimes the
Yes.
sellers often forget about their equity line.
That's true. No, they do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I had that equity line of
Yeah.
credit. And so it just shows everything, so everybody knows everything up front. It's an important it's an important document. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, you get a trust account.
Get a trust account.
Trust me. Pun intended. Right? Oh my gosh, this is such great information, Elizabeth. I mean, I hope you guys had a good time listening to this. I wanted to ask you though, I have to be licensed as a real estate, right, a realtor.
Right.
Is that something that you as a title person has to have, an escrow officer? You're escrow and a title officer, correct?
No. I'm
Okay.
only an escrow officer,
Okay.
and then we have title officers also. They have a hard job.
Yeah, it sounds like it for sure.
So they're
for
the
sure.
ones that are reviewing the record and
They go through all the details.
Correct.
Got you.
correct the
But-
chain of title.
But so what? So you need a license as well,
So
or required?
it's twofold. So the
Okay.
title, we're insured by the Department of Insurance. So we fall under, we're considered an insurance company. The insurance commissioner is our head. So we have a license with the Department of Insurance as a title company.
That makes sense.
Individually, escrow officers are not required to be licensed in the state of California.
Really?
Right. So I don't have an individual license. We have a company license, but I am not individually licensed.
I see.
We do have an association. We have the California Escrow Association. Locally, it's the Central Coast Escrow Association, and they offer a certification program. And so you effectively take a test. Presuming you pass the test, you can have a designation. So I'm designated certified escrow officer.
Excellent.
And then, so I had to pass the test, and then to maintain that designation, I have to do, similar to you, continuing education. Mm-hmm. So over the course of 4 years, I have to get 45 credits of continuing.
Oh, it's 4 years for you as well.
Yeah. I think they changed it to match. I don't know.
They probably did, yeah.
But,
Every 4 years we have, continuing ed we have to do to
Yeah.
maintain our license, yeah.
Right. So it's not a license by any means. It's just something that some escrow officers choose to do. I feel it helps us keep on top of all the changes, because it's
100%.
constantly changing, right?
100%, especially in California.
Especially in California, every year laws change that do affect us and what we do.
That's right.
And so that association really helps us stay on top of those changes. And
Yeah, because the continuing ed, all the updated laws or the changes or what have you are included in that. So that's why, I have said in my past podcasts, you want a experienced realtor or now an escrow officer with certifications or a license or whatever it is, because they are on top of everything that's happening. A busy escrow officer, a busy realtor stays on top of all the laws and changes. And like I said, we're a team, and if there's something I need to know, Elizabeth has that. She's certified. She continues her education to stay on top of all those things. It's very, very important. I'm not bashing anyone that's new to this industry.
No.
It's just that, you really, the experienced and the busy and the certified people are the ones that are staying on top of all these
Yeah.
things.
well, because with those years of experience, I mean, we've made mistakes.
Right, of course.
Right? But always, learn so much, and helps us just
You bet.
continue to be better.
You want to be on top of your game.
And be on top of it, yeah.
And again, in California, with so many
Especially
changes and
here.
regulations, et cetera, You know,
and so litigious,
very litigious.
So
Yeah.
it's, I think, even more important here than
It very, very much is. And you can see why this is the gal I love to have in charge of my escrows. She knows what she's doing. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you,
I so
Cindy.
appreciate it, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And listen, all of her information will be at the end of this podcast. If you need to contact her, because you do outside of escrow, you can do notary and all these other things. You might have a few questions for her. Feel free to contact her and ask her. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube. Central Coast Market Update is my podcast, so be sure you subscribe to that. Also, you can follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks again, Elizabeth.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
see you next time.